Welcome back everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between the iPhone 8 Plus and the newly released Google Pixel 4a. Now I will definitely tell you pros and cons for both. Obviously the iPhone 8 Plus is the older device, but it doesn't mean it's the way worse device, and same thing goes with the Pixel 4a. Just because it's the newer one doesn't mean it's the better one. I will tell you though, the Google Pixel 4a is costing about $350 to pick up brand new, where the iPhone 8 Plus is costing around $350 as well in the used market. So you can pick up both for around that same price, which is pretty interesting. Now, I will definitely tell you if it's between both, sometimes picking up the newer one may be better, sometimes picking up the older one may be better, and that's pretty much what we're going to figure out here. So starting off at the front, it's pretty obvious to tell. The iPhone 8 Plus has that 5.5-inch display, and even just looking both side by side, you can kind of tell the 8 Plus is far bigger and far wider than the Pixel 4a, but looks can be deceiving. Just because it is bigger doesn't mean it's better, like I've always stated. Like I said, that 5.5-inch IPS panel on the front of the iPhone 8 Plus, it's 1080p, and it's really not that bad. You have True Tone on it, and really the only downside of this specific phone throughout the whole entire time of owning it was really just the bezels. You know, it has a pretty big forehead, a pretty big chin, and it does have that home button, so if you like it, then you're good. If you don't like it, obviously it's still there, so it doesn't really matter what you do, it's going to be there forever. And that's really up to you whether you like it or not. I mean, it's there. And the panel itself doesn't look bad though, so if you're going to be using this phone, I would recommend getting the black one. The black one looks a little bit better than the white one in my opinion. But the screen itself is fine for the most part. Whatever you're going to do with it, it's going to be good. You have Force Touch on this display too, which is really cool, versus something like the Google Pixel 4a. And this phone has that 5.81-inch panel, and this one is OLED as well. I didn't mean to say as well because this is an IPS panel, but it's a good looking panel for the most part. It's pretty reflective, as you can see, compared to the iPhone 8 Plus display. It's kind of hard to tell, the viewing angles were okay, but now I'm like in direct sunlight, and they're really not good if I'm being honest, so I might have to retract a lot of things that I said before, but I will probably say that on my end final review of this device. You have that hole punch display on this device, which is really cool. Very little bezel around the whole entire display. And like I said before, this is a $350 phone. This is not a $1,000 phone. This is not a $500 phone. This is a $350 phone, which is really, really impressive. And the fact that it's made straight from Google, it's going to be widely available pretty much everywhere. That's a really, really good thing. Most of the time when we see budget phones, they're only available in like certain markets and stuff. This phone is available pretty much everywhere, which is going to be a huge highlight. So in terms of the front, I will definitely tell you the Pixel 4a will definitely probably win when it comes down to it, in terms of the display at least. In terms of the thickness, you can also see that the Pixel 4a is a little bit thicker than the iPhone 8 Plus, but the main important thing to keep in mind, and this is very, very important, is the feeling in the hand. The iPhone 8 Plus feels still like a $1,000 phone, honestly. It still feels like a very tremendous phone. You have, the aluminum side with the really nice volume buttons. These things are tactile. The ringer on and off switch is really nice too, versus the pretty much plastic everywhere on the Pixel 4a. And I'm not a huge fan of it. I understand they had to cut corners in order to keep the cost low, but I'm a huge fan of the way the iPhone 8 Plus feels. I am not a huge fan of the way the Pixel 4a feels. So depending on you, that's something you're going to have to determine. On the back, a little bit of a different setup as well. The fingerprint sensor on the back of the Pixel 4a, single camera setup as well, versus the iPhone 8 Plus with the glass back. Mine's a little cracked with the dual camera setup. And I'll get into the cameras in a second and pretty much everything else. A big important thing to keep in mind though is that the iPhone 8 Plus does have wireless charging, where the Pixel 4a does not have any wireless charging at all. So definitely when it comes down to it, I like the Pixel 4a, I like the way it looks, but the iPhone 8 Plus by far is the better feeling device. It feels better 50,000 times over. You're getting glass on the back, very good looking screen and everything. And when it comes down to it, the iPhone 8 Plus is the better feeling phone by far, but maybe the Pixel 4a is the better looking phone, which is pretty funny. So it's kind of like a vice versa there. So in terms of everything, I totally forgot what I'm talking about, but that pretty much covers it. Now hitting on the software, this is also a little bit interesting. So right now, both of these are on one of their more current versions of Android available. The Android 11 update is out or in the beta form for the Pixel 4a, but it's not out publicly yet. Where the iPhone 8 Plus has the iOS 14 beta on it installed right now, which is the newest version, but it will be publicly available in like a month or two whenever it comes out. So in terms of iOS, Android, depends whatever you like. Both are stock, which is really cool. You're not going to have a bunch of bloatware on either one of these phones, which is great, so I don't even have to talk about it. But in terms of the longevity, that's something you're going to have to consider, and I don't have the answers for it right now, but I'm going to assume that they're going to end off around the same time. I don't think the iPhone 8 Plus is going to last years longer than the Pixel 4a, and the same way vice versa. So I keep saying that over and over again. But whenever the iPhone 8 Plus ends, I feel like it's going to be around the same time that the Pixel 4a ends as well. So a couple more years of software support out of these two. For an Android device, that's pretty good. The 8 Plus had a long run as well, so that pretty much covers it up in terms of the software. Now hitting on the performance, I'll go into a speed test, but I'll tell you the specs between them first. The Pixel 4a has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 730 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 618 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM on the single model that's available, where the iPhone 8 Plus has that Apple A11 Bionic chip, hex-core CPU, and 3 gigs of RAM on each model. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between these two. Okay, now that we're back, let me go and clear out all the apps in the background, and this one has a ton of them. Okay, all of them are cleared out. Let's go and start loading up some of these apps. Now I have a bunch of these third-party apps that I always do, so let's go and get into them. Let's do Facebook, 3, 2, 1. Okay, actually the iPhone 8 Plus was faster, followed by the Pixel 4a. That was kind of interesting. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 4a was faster. The iPhone 8 Plus was kind of right behind it though, which is kind of surprising. We can do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 4a faster. The iPhone 8 Plus, right behind it a little bit. We do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And a little bit of a pop-up here. I don't know which one, maybe we'll give the edge to the 4a as well there, but we did have a pop-up on this device, so keep that in mind. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully we don't get into any random pop-ups, and of course we do, so let me go ahead and redo this one. Should only take a second. Fruit Ninja again, 3, 2, 1. And again, another pop-up. I don't get this. We'll just say this one was kind of even on both. That was kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie. So Fruit Ninja, you need to fix your stuff. Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And Pixel 4a faster, followed by the iPhone 8 Plus right behind it. Let's get into some gameplay and see if there's a difference. And was it just me, or was the 8 Plus kind of glitching up there a little bit? I'm not really too sure. But they both were kind of near each other, I'm not going to lie. So we can do Instagram, 3, 2, 1. 4a faster. Let's do Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. Might have to restart this one. Okay, so we were actually in a game on this one, which is surprising because it's usually the opposite. But let's go ahead and restart it. Let's do it again. Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. And maybe the 8 Plus will actually win this one, who knows? The 8 Plus was faster, followed up by the Pixel 4a. Okay, let's get into some gameplay. And like I stated a billion times before, it's probably going to be exactly the same, but you never know. And yeah, they're going to look about the same. So, let's go and end it off with Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. I don't know if this actually has it installed on the 8 Plus. I'm going to have to re-download it because I've been having to re-download it on every single device. But I can definitely tell you in terms of the performance side of things, the 4a I think is the faster one when it comes down to it almost every single time. There were a couple of cases where the iPhone 8 Plus was a little bit behind it or a little bit in front of it, but I think the iPhone 8 Plus is still a really good performing phone. I don't know why this game specifically takes so long on the iPhones. I don't think it's optimized out. I might have to download it again on the 8 Plus. You just never know. But we're fully loaded on the 4a. Yeah, so we didn't even have to download it. So the 4a, the 8 Plus was already loaded or downloaded for the most part. So definitely the 4a I think is the faster one, but for a majority of them, the 8 Plus is behind it too. So let's go and hit on the cameras. The iPhone 8 Plus has a dual camera setup. The Pixel 4a has a single camera setup. And what I can definitely tell you is, first of all, two 12 megapixel sensors here, a wide angle and telephoto lens. The 4a has a 12.2 megapixel lens, and both cameras are good, I think, for the most part. I think the 4a has a really good software behind that camera, so all the photos really pop and it looks really good. But the 8 Plus's camera, I think, are just better. You have that better setup, but you also have the ability of shooting 4K at 60 on the iPhone 8 Plus, where the 4a can only shoot 4K at 30, which might not be a big deal to you, but it probably will be sooner than later. So the fact that the 8 Plus has that capability is really, really cool. So the back camera, I might just give the edge to the iPhone 8 Plus. On the front, 7 megapixel sensor on the 8 Plus, 8 megapixel sensor on the Pixel 4a, and again, 1080p at 30. I like the iPhone 8 Plus's camera, maybe you like the Pixel 4a, so that pretty much sums it up there. I think the 8 Plus has the better camera setup throughout. Now ending it off with the battery life, the Pixel 4a had a 3140 mAh battery, The iPhone 8 Plus has a 2691 mAh battery, and in this case as well, I mean, I think I would give the edge to the Pixel 4a, even though it technically has a bigger screen and it's a little bit more powerful, and that screen is, an OLED. I would probably give the edge to the Pixel 4a. I think this one has the better battery life, mostly because it is bigger. The iPhone 8 Plus had really weird battery life. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, but it was like somewhere in the middle. It was like a little bit less than good. But in this case, I'd probably give the edge to the 4a. So to kind of sum up this video to answer the question, which phone should you pick up? I'll be honest, I think the Pixel 4a may be the better way to go for a majority of you. It has the better battery life, has the better screen in my opinion, and it's more powerful. But the iPhone 8 Plus is still a really good contender as well. It's built extremely good, has great build quality, the cameras are great, the software is great as well. You have IP certification on this, and this still feels like a $1,000 phone, where this one literally feels like a $300 phone right now. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.